Good morning. I'm Epstein with your morning flash update. And this update is for the morning of Tuesday, and we're at the 22nd already of April 2025, about 7:50 p.m. Central Time. So today we have some interesting data coming out. We have the Red Book sales that'll be out in just about 5 minutes from now. That comes out at 7:55. It's the weekly retail sales number. I want to read the IMF World Economic Outlook and what they're looking at with what Trump has done since a month ago. So that'll be, to me, fairly important. Then we're going to take a look at the Richmond Fed with their monthly manufacturing sector index. That'll come out at 9. The South Korean delegation in town. We've got earnings galore coming out. So now the big boys start with Tesla and so on. So you want to keep your eye on how that's all going to impact the markets. As we take a look, we had a big decline, as you know, on Monday. So we're getting what we call in the stock market, according to Yale Hirsch, Stock Traders Almanac, if you never took a look at it. You see the bounce you're getting in the market. This is a very typical event that takes place. Gold made a run over 3,500, and it could go negative here. The profit taking is starting to come in. The silver market is not keeping quite up with it. The copper, though, is, and part of the reason traders are looking at that so much, and by the way, it is time today. I'm going to switch over from the May silver and May copper to the July contracts here on the board. But it's one of the things you keep your eyes on now to see. These have been dragged with the market. Copper's a little different. The copper story is, can China internally get things going in their economy where there's more demand for the copper? They use about half the world's copper. That's going to be the big question. When we step over into the foreign currencies, the dollar getting a rally at the expense of a number of currencies. So we have in the early part of the morning, again, it's just after 7:50, reversals taking place. I wrote about that last night and said you want to keep your eye out for today, Tuesday reversal day in a number of markets. Even the grain markets have been under pressure. They have been the stronger markets. You were down in the beans and the other markets recently. They're coming up as the corn giving up a little ground here. You could see the yen is still up, but a number of the other currencies starting to go into the dark. As we take a look at the bonds and notes, while you're down in the front end, let me say that, the 5-year and the 2-year, you're getting a rise in the back end. So they're, again, adjusting where the curve yields have been going to a degree. I don't think it's a trend. I think it's a correction within that. And the break in the energies is seeing a rally come about now. More talks going on between the U.S. and Iran. Can they get to a deal which allows Iran exporting of oil, which I think President Trump very much wants, by the way, at the expense of what? Not allowing Iran to go to nuclear development for weapons, but a way to really monitor it. Because what the United Nations and the nuclear agencies have got, Iran keeps shutting people down. There's got to be a penalty for that. How do you put them in the penalty box if they don't allow that looking? The other thing that you have to keep your eye on, the president is very cleverly trying to blame now the Fed for the predicament that the president has caused. He wants them to lower interest rates. The problem is he says there's no inflation. We say, the general public, there is inflation via the tariffs. Where do you go with that argument? And as much as he would like to float, he can fire the Fed chief. That'll be a long, drawn-out case. Congress might even get involved in it. I don't think he should go that route. I think he should allow the Fed independence. You'd never want a Fed to not be independent. If you do that, you've really let the genie out of the box, so to speak. You know, I did a report on the dollar index, and that report's only up for 3 days. I put it up yesterday. In the report, I show you that we're down to the 4th count of the dollar. Markets go in counts, and I explain all this as we start off that report, in fact. And you're down to the 4th count. It's extremely, and I cannot use that word bold enough, extremely rare you go to a 5th count. You do, but it's really, really rare. So you're at the zone where you've pulled on the rubber band, and the question is, can the dollar give you a bounce from here and then possibly resume its trek back down? If you were to ask me, do you push the market right here? I think you've pushed it pretty far, and I talk about that in the market. That does not mean I'm bullish. So all you need to do is go to iraepstein.com, look at the dollar index. I give you the weekly charts, the daily charts, and the price counts. Seasonals right now don't matter. Why? Because they're being impacted by man, the man called the Trump factor. There'll be a link up here. Give it a click. It'll take you there. Otherwise, iraepstein.com. Look on the top left. You'll see the report. Take care.